care about me?
That was a lie. I care very much about you.
Okay, that's good. All right. Well,
can't lie for that long.
Here we go. That's good. Here we go. And on the right side of the map, in the blue, playing Protoss, excuse me, from the team ZeNEX. Wow, it is ZeNEX.Brain. Maybe he has somebody 2v2s with named Pinky. Who knows? And on the left side of the map, in the yellow from FXO CIS, it is Lowely.
Brain, what are we going to do tomorrow night?
Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to
take over the world.
Forge, expand, or die trying.
Yeah, possibly. So
that's right, and there it is. He's going to do it. He's going to do it.
Speaking of the person who started that statement, Naniwa, a few updates in GSL, of course. Top 4 are now set. Semifinals, of course, we're going to have, let's see, we have Parting, MVP, Hero, and Squirtle.
I called it the age of the Protoss is coming. This is just the tip of the iceberg, man.
Much like Winter.
3 out of the top 4. Yeah, just like Winter. 3 out of the top 4. Players are Protoss, MVP, the lone Terran, representing his race. And, yeah, I think we're really coming into a time here soon where Protoss players are going to do quite well across the board.
11 pool now for Lowely, so he's going to be able to get in there with some Zerglings. Of course, this is still intended to be macro, and he will be able to make his Zerglings in there a little bit quicker before the cannon would normally show up, so it's probably going to force Brain to put up that Forge if he was intending to go for a Nexus first, a little bit quicker than he had anticipated.
It's interesting to see, actually, Lowely do something like this. The 10-11 pools have kind of seen a little bit of a comeback. He's trying to mess up some mining there too, but the reason why we're seeing these earlier pools in ZVP right now is because of the rampant pylon blocking of the 2nd and 3rd that Protoss loves to do against Zerg right now. If you go for that 3-hatch-based Protoss, it's just like, oh, I could just put pylons down and just kind of generally mess with you and put you behind, especially if we have a Protoss going Nexus first. So a lot of Zergs have been going, all right, well, I'm just going to 10 pool, get some lings out really early on, and just make it impossible for you. Because if you just make 6 Zerglings, or in this case 4 Zerglings drawn up behind it, you really aren't economically any farther behind than you would be normally. In fact, you're going to be a lot less farther behind than if they do block both your bases with pylons.
Yeah, very true. And look at that. Hatchery goes down unopposed. Of course, ZeNEX.Brain did still decide to go Nexus first, and then Gateway after the Forge. All of this coming up before the first cannon gets put down. We can see Lowely already running across the map with his lings. Yeah,
and a lot of times with this, I'm not sure about the 11 pool timing per se on this map, but if you do go 10 pool, a lot of the times you can get in and at least get them to pull some probes off of the line and lose a little bit of mining time anyway. So there's definitely some benefits to it.
Now, is he going to have enough to put up that gateway so he can defend, as this photon cannon is still quite far away? Yeah, and it looks like he will be able to put up a gateway. Goes ahead and holds position with the probe. Oh no, the herd probe was up in front. And he lets the lings inside of his main. He's going to start canceling a couple of structures here. Yeah, Cybernetics Core will replace that. These lings aren't going to kill too many workers, but they are certainly going to force Brain to pull them off the line for a long time, miss mining time, things like that.
Yeah, that's the point. I mean, you get in there, focus a worker, maybe kill it, and then when they pull their workers, see, there you go. Lost mining time right there. And so I think we're going to see a lot more of these 10-11 pools in ZVP here coming up in the next couple months. I think it's become a really good build in this matchup.
Every time he pulls workers like that, it's about 30 or 40 resources lost as well. And he loses a worker on top of it. So Lowely doing some pretty good damage here. Now, interesting to note, he has started mining gas back at home before going for that 3rd hatch. So, another probe goes down. So I've got to say, those Zerglings were actually pretty darn effective there. And Brain going to need to start chrono boosting some out very quick. Of course, he did decide to go Nexus first so we can catch up pretty quickly.
That's right. It's just all about making sure that the Zerg can keep up with the Protoss. I mean, it sounds kind of weird to say, but in this matchup right now, at the higher levels, Zergs can sometimes struggle a little bit to keep up economically with a Protoss who goes Forge first. If you have kind of a struggle getting those 3 hatcheries going very quickly. Now, Lowely obviously did not choose to go for that build. He's getting Zergling speed before his 3rd, in this case, getting gas a little bit earlier. But let's look at the worker count right now. I want to kind of see where we're at. All right, 32 to 27. Yeah, so a little bit of a worker lead right now. It's always a little bit nice to see. And so we're going to get to move into kind of a normal mid-game here. +1 weapons on the way for Brain, so nothing really out of the ordinary there as well.
Yeah.
+1 ship weapons, though, that's a little bit out of the ordinary.
Yeah, it is. That may be a misclick. We'll see if a Stargate gets added. If a Stargate gets added really, really quickly, then that's fine. But I think that was intended to be Warp Gate research. We'll find out, though, he feigned like he was going to put down additional gas. I mean, may very well go into Stargate after this. We could be totally wrong, but that's Kind of interesting there. Back on Lowely's side of things, a very, very quick layer tech, and he's going up to 4 gas on 2 bases now. However, he is scouted as Brain's able to get in there and see pretty much everything.
RoboBay on the way as well. No Stargate. So, yeah, I've got a feeling this is just plain old a mistake, actually, by Brain to get this +1 ship weapons. Obviously, if you're not making Stargate, there's no real point to do it. When you're playing really fast, it's easy to sometimes click the wrong thing. I accidentally built 2 Evo chambers the other day instead of an Evo chamber and a Roach Warren. So it does happen to everybody pretty much at all levels of the game. But, yeah, this is definitely a mistake by Brain.
All right. Well, there are a few links.
Oh, man.
You get a pretty good
bad.
read on what's up at the front. It's almost done, man. He's going to have some powerful Stargate units. I tell you what, man.
He wants to go for that 4-gate pressure with +1, but it's not going to happen because he has no way to warp in units. +1 ship weapons is getting very close to finishing. Brain has not noticed yet. Oh, the Robo finishes. Man. There's a Warp Prism. Yeah, it was going to be some Warp Prism aggression.
These gateways finishing up just in time for +1 ship weapons to finish
just watch
up.
For it. He's going to select all his gateways, and he's going to hit the Warp Gate. See, there it is, selecting gateways. He's like, oh,
boom.
No. Oh, no. Oh, poor Brain.
Yeah.
Poor Brain.
That's why his plans to dominate the world each night always go astray. Just that one little mistake.
Yeah, now this is actually going to really set him pretty far behind. I mean, he's not going to be able to, well, I mean, here's the thing. He can try to take a third. That's what we're going to see him try here. But it might be a bit difficult to hold if Lowely kind of picks up that there's no warp gates out there at all. He may not even try to take a third as well. I mean, he may just try to, well, I don't know what he's going to do with the Warp Prism.
Yeah, now Lowely's doing a couple interesting things. One, he did pick up on the Warp Prism, immediately started speeding back some of those Zerglings here. Yeah, if there's nothing in that Warp Prism, he can't warp anything in until that Warp Gate research is done. So that's not going to come in that big of a help for quite a while now. Lowely is preparing for this nonetheless. We can see, though, Brain actually adding on a lot of Stalkers, you know. Figured he would have continued to up the sentry count while he produced those Immortals, but no.
Well,
going ahead and looking for some sort of a 1-1 attack, maybe.
Stalkers are the most logical thing to add on there right now, and he's getting charge as well. So, yeah, all the Twilight Council upgrades coming up right now for our Protoss player. And Warp Gate research should be finished pretty soon. So if he does decide to warp in maybe at the third or something, he still can, but yeah, Lowely, for now at least, seems to kind of have this game locked down.
This is so weird. He's getting charge at the moment. He's stopped at just 1 Immortal. I mean, all signs pointed towards some sort of a 4-gate sentry plus Immortal third base, but I guess just missing the Warp Gate research just completely threw that out the window.
Yeah, it does kind of mess you up a little bit. I like the style that Lowely's going for. Mass Lings with upgrades and Infestors. He's going to be going into Hive Tech eventually. Broodlords probably.
Yeah.
But, and this is not going to do a whole lot at all. The Zelts immediately surrounded. And, yeah, again, the Warp Prism being a little bit ineffective here.
And Observer's going to get a pretty good look around. As we can see from Brain's vision, he knows the Infestors are out. Looks like he's going for a third base now, of course. And second Immortal is coming out on the way, starting to prioritize some of those Zealots so we can deal with the mass number of Zerglings that are sitting on the ground. Also, throwing down the Templar Archives as he goes up to gates number 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, 5 and 6.
Could be thinking about Storm, but Archons would be a great addition in this type of situation here, especially if he thinks for some reason his opponent's going Mutas, which, you know, he knows he's not, but sometimes people do that. Oh, he does get the Observer. And, yeah, 2-2 on the way. Lowely with a little bit of a supply lead. But it's all going to come down to that late game. I mean, if Brain does go for Storm, he's going to have a way to take out those Zerglings extremely quickly. And the Hive, or the Spire, already, there's Storm, and the Spire already going down for Lowely. So, yeah, he's really not going to be able to push in and do a whole lot once Storm finishes. Oh, man, he catches that Immortal.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh.
All right, well, we'll see how Brain's going to hold this. Now, we'll see how much passivity, I guess, is largely what we're going to see from Lowely. If he decides to move on an attack now or if he's going to wait for a bit. Chain feedbacking so many of those Infestors. They didn't get off many fungal growths, and those had such high energy they just instantly died.
Yeah, no kidding. That's always one of the risks of having your Infestors with such high energy.
Wow.
If your opponent goes for a quick Templar. Don't know if Lowely was necessarily expecting that. His Spire is getting a little bit closer to done. He's actually getting a Baneling Nest right now as well. And, yeah, a lot of money built up right now for Lowely.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to prioritize some of those units here in just a second.
Yep.
Oh, Brain is dropping one more time. He's got a good number of zealots sitting here at the back. Yeah, he'll be able to dispatch those pretty quickly. But now with the reinforcements coming in, he will eventually get cleaned up, and the warp prism goes down as well.
Yeah,
so,
ooh, a lot of banelings being warped in. But what will he use from the Spire? Will it be Mutalisks, perhaps, right away? Because he doesn't have the Greater Spire right away. Okay, there's the Greater Spire. So yeah, we're probably going to see him kind of sit on some money for a while, and usually, you know, you add your first Corruptors and the Greater Spires about halfway done, unless you need them to kill Colossi or something like that. Oh, but he's actually adding his a little bit earlier. Okay.
Now, the only thing I'm worried about for Lowely is that, you know, he's waiting so long to go to these Broodlords, and Brain has a very real opportunity to attack and do damage, which is what he's doing. And those Corruptors just are not going to be useful for upwards of another 2.5 minutes in-game. Big Zergling run by, though, into the back of the base. We do see a couple of Photon Cannons coming up in the warp and should be able to deal with that, but still very annoying for Brain to try and have to deal with.
Man, these 2/2 Zerglings are actually doing pretty well against the little warp-in defenses that Brain is doing. Zealot's actually falling quite a bit quicker than they normally would. They are only 1-1, but with the cannons fishing, he does need to run away a little bit.
Forced to cancel, actually killed that base outright, and he's going to go ahead and push through the middle as well. Some of the banelings actually getting in on the action, killing some of those zealots, but not too much left over. And once again, Lowely's money very, very high, just waiting so we can start morphing in some of those Broodlords right away.
Yep, and he will be able to do, well, a couple of them anyway right now. He spent a lot of money on banelings right there.
Yeah.
And the +3 carapace upgrade as well. So he's going to be able to make a couple Broodlords, but not a whole lot immediately.
All right. Well, Brain, it looks like he's thinking about starting to go through the destructible debris, open up another attack path to be able to start assaulting the economy. We see a 4th base coming up for Lowely down at the bottom right. But of course, yeah, there you go. You're pointing out there that there are 4 Broodlords on the way. But taking a look at things over on Brain's side of things, despite kind of the questionable, interesting start, he's solidly on 3 bases now. He's got a very strong army composition.
Yep, that's right. This is where things get a little bit tricky for Zerg right now. And here come the Banelings. Are there going to be enough force fields? Oh, the Banelings getting in. Sentries immediately dying. But other than that, not a whole lot of damage done to the army. Here come a lot more Speedlings, though, surrounding the Immortals. Oh, he does run away when the Archons show up.
Boof! Those Archons with AoE against biological Zerglings just dish out so much damage, even if they are sitting on 2/2 upgrades. Oh, Corruptors flying right over the top, immediately getting killed. Zerglings trying to run by at the moment, and that's actually Brain's cue to leave as the Broodlords are starting to push their way in as well.
Yep, that's right. There's also a bit of a counterattack going here. He's going to try to cause a cancel on this gold base. Or what used to be the gold base anyway, and he does.
Yes.
So there is that. That does help. Now, what's the infestor count right now for Lowely? How many does he have out? He has 3. Just 3. Okay, he did lose quite a few in that earlier push. Normally, he would like to have a few more, but that's still a strong Broodlord army. He just needs to make sure that he doesn't have Stalkers blinking under it or something like that.
Yeah, we see Stargate coming up. He'll eventually move that into a fleet beacon and then produce a mothership so we can have a little bit of late game presence as well. Sitting on 70 workers, but they're kind of unevenly distributed. There's a lot over at the main still, so we could transfer some back over towards that 3rd. But other than that, things all pretty common at this stage of the game, although Lowely, you know, really just producing high-tech units and a little bit behind on supply.
Well, he's got to be very careful here. He doesn't want to lose these Broodlords. If he does, then the game is definitely over. Ling's taking out some Zealots here. Yep, the Banelings should do okay against that as well. Oh, but he leaves his Broodlords undefended. Exactly what I was worried about.
Yeah, that was one big blink. There's the 2nd, and just 2 of the Broodlords remaining. Now just 1. They're all dead. Baneling's starting to roll in as well, but the Archon's going to be able to dispatch those. Look at that 42-kill Archon sitting up at the front.
Oh, the Infestors were just way out of position as well, trying to handle those Zealots, so that attack just completely fell apart for FXO.Lowely, and that is exactly what ZeNEX.Brain needed right now. It's going to take Lowely a long time before he's able to kind of build up an army that's ready to take on his opponent at this point.
All right, well, there's one Zergling poking away at this base at the top left-hand corner. A few Zealots are being sent over to take care of that, but as we can see, a Nexus coming up, many more Archons starting to pile on along with +3 weapons, and Lowely has just been able to produce largely, he does have a couple additional Broodlords, but just mostly Zerglings and Banelings, and he actually can't engage while his Spine Crawlers are going to town, so the army not in the best of positions, although Brain really pushing it with not that many forces.
Well, the Spine Crawlers certainly do help quite a bit. +1 fire carapace, that's going to help a bit as well. And all in all, Lowely really having the most trouble with gas. He just does not have enough gas to make the Broodlords and the Infestors that he wants. That's why he's trying to take that base in the lower right part of the screen. Oh, man, that is a lot of dead probes. Oh, the Baneling just came in at the last second.
Oh, okay, let's see here.
Yep.
Sorry, my apologies, as he is going to be able to crash on through and possibly kill this base. Yeah, but at the same time, another big attack, and Lowely's losing everything up at the front.
Yeah, I mean, just compositionally, it's not looking very good at all, and it really is that lack of infestors. You know, he's not able to restrict the mobility of the Stalkers and Archons one bit, and that is going to make it really, really difficult for him to win this game. Losing all those infestors early on.
Yeah, and now there's a handful of Banelings that are attempting to come up right now. 59 kill Archon just hanging on with 28 HP, and he's going to start running through a good number of those Banelings. No, Archon!
Just got brushed so bad. Lightly.
I know.
Yep, 3 more Broodlords on the way and a ton of Zerglings, but GG from Lowely, and that is going to be the end of game 1. ZeNEX.Brain taking that PVZ, and it